A goat can live inside a herd of 50 animals and still die alone. Not from a predator, not from disease, from rejection. And the strange thing is the herd doesn't reject randomly. There's a system, there's a reason, and once you understand it, you'll never look at a group of goats the same way again. Watch any goat herd long enough and you'll notice something that doesn't make sense at first. One goat keeps getting pushed out. Every time it tries to graze with the others, someone headbutts it away. Every time it tries to rest near the group, the goats around it shift and move, slowly, quietly, until that one goat is standing alone at the edge. No obvious injury, no visible disease. It looks fine. So why won't the others let it in? That's the question researchers studying caprine social behavior started asking about 20 years ago, and the answer they found wasn't what anyone expected. Here's the first thing you need to understand about goats. They are not passive animals. They are constantly evaluating each other. Every day, inside a herd, goats are running what behavioral scientists call social probing small tests. A nudge, a stare, a sudden step forward. They're not being aggressive for no reason. They're asking a question. Who are you in relation to me? Goats establish what's called a dominance hierarchy, a ranked social order, where every animal knows its position. Studies from the University of Edinburgh's Animal Behaviour Unit found that goat herds can maintain stable hierarchies of up to 30 animals, with each goat holding a distinct social rank. That rank isn't decided by size alone. Researchers found that confidence, responsiveness, and what they describe as social consistency, how predictably an animal behaves, are major factors in how a goat is ranked. And this is where the rejected goat starts to make sense. The goat that gets pushed out isn't always the weakest. It's often the most inconsistent. One day it challenges others, the next day it retreats. One day it stays close to the herd, the next day it wanders. The herd can't place it. And in the world of a prey animal, something you can't predict is something you don't trust. But here's what that still doesn't explain. Why doesn't the herd just ignore the inconsistent goat? Why actively push it out? This is where the research gets strange. A 2014 study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science looked at what happens to group cohesion when an unpredictable animal is present in a herd. What they found was this. One socially erratic animal raises the stress hormones of the animals around it, not just slightly. In goats, near a consistently disruptive herd member, cortisol levels, the primary stress marker in caprine biology, rose by up to 28% compared to baseline. That matters, because goats under elevated stress make worse decisions. They startle more easily, they miss early predator cues, they stop monitoring their environment the way they should. So the herd isn't being cruel, the herd is protecting itself. Rejection, in goat psychology, is a form of threat management. The animals doing the pushing aren't the bullies, they're the immune system. But now, here's the thing that should stop you completely. The goat being rejected doesn't know why it's being pushed out. Research on goat cognition, and there's more of it than most people realize, tells us that goats have strong social memory and emotional awareness. A landmark 2016 study out of Queen Mary University of London demonstrated that goats can recognize emotional states in other goats' faces and voices. They respond differently to positive and negative emotional signals. They're not just reacting to movement, they're reading mood, which means the rejected goat is experiencing something real. Behavioral observations of isolated and semi-isolated goats show distinct stress responses. Increased vocalization, repetitive pacing near the herd's perimeter, and what researchers describe as approach avoidance conflict. The animal moves toward the group, gets blocked, retreats, then tries again, and again, and again. That pattern doesn't look like indifference, it looks like distress. And here's what makes it harder. The rejected goat often has no way to correct the behavior that caused the rejection in the first place, because the inconsistency driving its exclusion is frequently tied to early developmental factors. Studies on kid socialization, that's baby goat development, show that goats separated from their mothers too early or raised in low stimulation environments show significantly higher rates of social inconsistency as adults. They never learned the rules of the herd during the window when those rules are easiest to learn. The rejection isn't punishment for bad behavior. It's the long shadow of a difficult start. But there's one more layer to this, and it's the one most people never hear about. Not every rejected goat stays rejected. Researchers documenting long-term herd dynamics found something surprising. Some rejected goats do eventually reintegrate, and the path back isn't force, it isn't challenge, it isn't getting bigger or stronger. The goats that find their way back into the herd are the ones that become predictable. They pick a consistent spot to graze, they stop challenging animals above them, they respond the same way every time to the same situation. Over weeks, sometimes months, the herd's stress response around that animal drops. The headbutts slow down, the space around the goat stops expanding, and slowly, quietly, the herd closes back in. What the research reveals is that acceptance in a goat herd isn't about being liked, it's about being readable. An animal that makes sense to the group is an animal the group can accommodate. It's not warmth, it's not friendship. It's trust, built through repetition, built through time, built through showing up the same way day after day until the question the herd was asking finally gets answered.